Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're shifting gears a bit. We're moving away from, the big data sets, and we're diving into something more, well, personal. We're looking at small town architecture.
That's right. Specifically, we're digging into a set of personal notes. Notes on photography, part 208. And these notes, they outline this long-held creative idea the author has.
Right, about documenting a very specific architectural style, one that's, well, disappearing pretty fast. So our mission today is really to get why the author feels this urgency. What's so special about this architecture, and what can we learn from their whole process?
Well, what's really interesting is how it starts. The author has this really ambitious travel plan, a huge trip originally. But the real heart of it, the thing connecting the dots, turns out to be this race against time. It's about capturing history before it's gone.
Yeah, that initial plan sounds massive. Traveling by shuttle bus, town after town, documenting everything, the places, the people, the journey itself. But they mention in another note, part 190, I think, that someone else already kind of covered the travel part.
Exactly. So the journey itself isn't the unique angle anymore. It becomes the means to an end. And that end, the actual subject, it's the shophouse.
The shophouse. Okay, let's define that. What exactly are we talking about here?
So in this context, it's a very specific historical architectural style. You find it in, like, the older centers of small towns. Think historical.
Right, the ones that often look quite narrow but deep.
Precisely. Usually 2, maybe 3 stories. And the key thing is their function. They were kind of the original mixed-use buildings, weren't they? Long before we started talking about it in modern planning.
Makes sense. So the shop part is the ground floor for business.
Yes, commerce right on the street. And then the house part, the living space, is upstairs. They're built right up against the pavement, encouraging people to walk. It gives those old town centers that distinctive, walkable feel.
And that's the essence the author wants to capture. Through photos or maybe drawings?
Yeah, photography or illustration, to really document the form and the feel of them.
And it's not just the author who thinks this is important, right? The notes mention, right? Someone actually published a book about shop houses just last year.
That's right. Which really underscores the point. It shows there's a wider recognition that, hey, this style matters, and documenting it now is pretty crucial.
Okay, so there's established importance, but then there's this tension, this urgency you mentioned.
Exactly. This is where it gets really interesting. The author makes it super clear. While these shop houses, these structures, they do still exist in many towns. They're very rapidly becoming historical relics, purely things of the past.
And the notes actually spell out why this is happening, what's driving it.
Oh, yeah, very explicitly. It's not just like slow decay, it's active replacement.
Okay, what are the drivers?
The author lists a few key things. First, just the general urbanization of these small towns. They're growing, changing.
Right, and then years of what they call overdevelopment.
Overdevelopment, yeah. Plus the growth of completely new townships nearby, drawing activity away.
And the final one mentioned is more condominiums.
Condominiums.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which often represent a very different scale and style of building.
So when we talk about overdevelopment in these small towns, what does that actually look like on the ground?
Well, it often means losing that human scale,
Yeah.
that pedestrian-friendly environment. Instead of a row of these unique, narrow shop houses, you might get a big, sprawling new development or these large condo blocks.
Things that prioritize density, maybe cars, over that historical character.
Absolutely. The old style, the very architectural DNA of the town center, it's just getting squeezed out. It's economic pressure, really, demanding faster, maybe cheaper, high-density construction.
It sounds like the author isn't just sad about losing buildings then. It's more profound. It's like losing a whole way of organizing town life, that walkable, mixed-use pattern.
That's a really good way to put it. It's an erasure of that specific urban layout.
Yeah.
And you can feel that urgency in the notes, this sense that it's happening now very quickly.
Like the window for documentation is closing fast.
Definitely. Every year, maybe more facades get torn down or covered up with, modern stuff, turning that local history into something more generic. It's a real anxiety about the speed of growth and what gets lost in the process.
But it's not all doom and gloom, is it? The notes do mention some positive efforts. Conservation is happening.
Yes, that's true. There's a glimmer there. The author notes visible efforts to restore and repurpose some of the existing shop houses.
Okay, so people are trying to save some of them, turning them into cafes or shops, perhaps.
Exactly. You see that quite a bit. Old shop houses getting new life as boutique hotels, galleries, cool little businesses, which is great. for preserving the artifact. But, and this is a really critical distinction the author makes, it points to a deeper issue.
Oh, okay, what's the distinction?
Well, while they're saving existing buildings, the author points out a complete lack of new construction that actually follows that design tradition.
Ah, I see. So restoration is happening, but not replication. Or maybe evolution.
Precisely. For the style to truly live, it needs to be, well, viable for building today. But modern zoning might not favor those narrow, deep lots. Or maybe modern materials are just cheaper than the traditional ones you'd need for that aesthetic.
And maybe that mixed-use model, shop downstairs, home upstairs, isn't seen as economically efficient now.
Could be all of those things. So the result is, we're kind of preserving the fossils, as you said earlier.
Right, keeping the old ones looking nice, maybe as tourist spots.
But the style itself isn't being allowed to adapt or continue in new buildings.
So the key takeaway from the notes on this point is what?
The author says they haven't seen any new modern shop houses being built that really capture that same aesthetic, that same design sensibility. Preservation, in this context, it's more like maintenance. It freezes the style in time. It keeps the historical examples around, but the architectural lineage, it's basically stopped. It's confined to history.
Okay, so that leads us back to the author's grand project, this huge shuttle bus tour idea. Trying to document this vanishing style across potentially many towns, it sounds overwhelming.
It really does. You can almost feel the weight of it in the notes. It's that classic clash, isn't it? Big ambition meets the hard reality of time, resources, and just the sheer scale of the problem.
Especially when the thing you're trying to document is disappearing while you plan.
Exactly. How do you chase down an entire architectural style across who knows how many places when every day maybe something else gets lost? The urgency makes the big plan seem almost impossible.
Which leads them to, well, a change of plans, a
Definitely.
pivot, right?
A really important
Yeah.
pivot.
Yeah.
A moment of clarity, it seems.
Yeah. They realized that this massive documentation project doesn't have to start with the epic journey. It can start much, much smaller.
Yes. It can begin right where they are, by documenting their immediate neighborhoods.
Why travel far away when the very same forces, the condos, the development pressure, are likely at work right outside their own door?
And that shift, I think, that's probably the biggest practical lesson here, for anyone listening, really. No matter what big project you're tackling, whether it's architecture or research or, anything complex, starting small, starting local, observing what's right in front of you, that often makes it manageable. It makes it immediate.
Yeah, the subject you need to study or document might literally be down the street.
Exactly. It acknowledges that time crunch and lets you actually start doing something right away instead of getting bogged down in planning the perfect huge expedition. So yeah, we've kind of explored this really fascinating dilemma from the notes, this struggle, between wanting to preserve something unique and historical, like the shop house style, and these really powerful forces of modern development pushing against it. Condos, new townships, that kind of thing.
And the urgency is real because, as the author points out, the style itself isn't really being continued in new buildings. It's becoming functionally extinct.
Right. It's being preserved, but not propagated.
So the author looked at that huge shuttle bus project and, wisely it seems, decided to start closer to home. And that leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. Think about your own surroundings for a second. What unique local features, maybe small things, are under pressure? Considering this rapid change we've talked about, what piece of history in your immediate neighborhood, maybe it's an old sign, a particular type of window, a pattern on a floor, might be vanishing soon?
What's asking to be noticed, maybe documented, before it's gone for good?
It really makes you think about the power of just looking closely at what's right around you. That localized observation. Definitely something to mull over. Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll see you next time.